Oh wow, it's another video. That's crazy. This one is going to be on the shorter side because I don't have anything interesting to read, which is honestly probably for the best because it'll make this video ever so slightly less cringeworthy, even though that's literally the title of the series, but whatever. First of all, before I say anything else, since this has been a hot topic recently, I felt like I should address the history of what happened with the Indian residential school system in Canada. I'm not really going to talk about it in this video because it's a very dark subject and I don't want to misinterpret the situation or speak for the indigenous peoples of North America. I was never taught about this in school, and everything that I do know about the history of all the terrible shit that happened is really from my own research. I'm an amateur history enthusiast and I am not a Native American, so it's not really mine to talk about. I wanted to acknowledge this before the video begins because I don't want it to seem like I'm downplaying the horrible impact the residential schools had on Indigenous children or have it come across like I'm completely oblivious to the situation. It's a serious topic and it's one that I don't want to make light of or really discuss in a stupid Countryhumans video because that's not the right way to portray this type of history. I know what happened to an extent, and I'm not trying to delegitimize what happened or brush it off like it's nothing, but I also don't think I'm equipped to talk about it. These schools were some of the most disgusting institutions in history, and I recognize that, but I'm not going to speak for other people. So, yeah, I'm going to leave a video in the description that talks about it more because it is an important subject and people should know about it, but I'm just not going to talk about it here. So, on a lighter note, Canada is really friendly and sweet, and he gives, bean energy. I don't even know what that means. What the hell is bean energy? I need to work on making my scripts make sense. I'm just, a very incoherent person. I talk in circles and, say dumb things way more than I should. And also, like I'm doing right now, forget I'm supposed to be reading off a script and start talking my brain words that are coming through my brain out my mouth without thinking about it or having something planned that I'm gonna say, which I should stop doing that now. But yeah, so not to play into stereotypes too much, but Canada is very polite and sweet, and his most frequently used vocabulary word is sorry. His mother is France and his father is Britain, everybody's favorite power couple that used to go through long periods of domestic violence before the 1900s. That sentence was questionable. Okay, but yeah, I think I've said to my friends that Canada is what happens when France and Britain have a kid and then leave it alone in a refrigerator full of maple syrup. America is his brother, as are Australia and New Zealand, but he has closer ties to America purely because of his geographic location. But yeah, he has especially close relationships with his nuclear family. What is there really to hate about Canada? I went to Canada last week, and when I came back to the land of no healthcare, I was sad. Canada is super nice. The country in the real world is super nice. It's a nice place, and it's not disgusting like American cities. But yeah, oops, I'm off topic, off script again. But yeah, he's friends with pretty much everyone. His best friend is Ukraine, full hetero. Love this ship. It's wholesome and unproblematic, and we love that here. I see a lot of people questioning this ship because they don't think it makes any sense, but I object to that statement. Sometimes you gotta do a little digging to find out why someone saw these two land masses and decided that they were romantically attracted to each other. Canada was actually the first country in the West to recognize Ukraine as an independent country after it left the Soviet Union. There is also a huge Ukrainian population in Canada. Outside of Russia, Canada has the largest Ukrainian population outside of Ukraine. Not to mention that Canada has been one of Ukraine's most important allies, especially during the Russian invasion of 2022. But even since the annexation of Crimea back in 2014, Canada has been offering financial support when most of the world did nothing. Again, I went to Canada this week and there was so much support for Ukraine. We saw a huge Ukrainian church. There were Ukrainian flags everywhere. And like, though I do see some public support for Ukraine in my own country, I have to say that it was much more prevalent in Canada. And like, I was only there for like 2 days, but yeah, I just got way off topic trying to justify why I shipped these two land masses, but like, let's just move on. Yeah. Oh, also the Country Balls fandom says it's true, and we came from these bitches. So yeah, I don't know. Let me move on now. But Canada's friends with pretty much everyone except like the enemies of NATO. But that's just how the world is gonna be. Love that. All right. Now is the part where we talk about history. Yay. In the 1600s, France went over to this brand new landmass and was like, hey, this looks like a good place for a colony. So she did that and Canada materialized out of thin air. I don't know how countries give birth. I don't care. Frick you and your landmass smut. In my brain, these things can reproduce asexually. How? I don't really know. Maybe they just decide to have babies and then suddenly they're pregnant because they willed a fetus into existence. Maybe they do cell division and split in half. Maybe like a tumor-like mass grows out of their kneecaps and one day it pops off and it's a baby. I truly don't care enough to think this through. Anyways, but yeah, France was actually a pretty decent mother to Canada. She's just chilling, like, yeah, as long as you give me beaver skins, you can just vibe. And then the 7 Years' War starts and everyone fights each other and France gets screwed over and has to cede Canada to Britain, which was made official in the Treaty of Paris, one of the many, many treaties of Paris. Can we please be more creative with names? I beg of you. And in 1775, America, who was still colonial America at this point, like he's still a colony, but he hates it and he's angry. But yeah, America tries to beat him up and Canada is like, what the hell are you doing? Canada just kind of watches the American Revolution from the side. He's just sitting there eating popcorn like, cool, that's interesting, but don't get me involved. Okay, thanks. Like I do when my family is arguing. Then he's initiated into another conflict during the War of 1812. America invades Canada again and fails again. Britain did a lot of the fighting on American soil. Overall, Canada was kind of still existing, like, okay, that's nice, sweetie. The Abolition of Slavery Act happened around 2 decades afterwards, so good job, Canada. America should probably take a hint by now and realize that slavery is bad, but he doesn't. But also, this video isn't about America, so yeah. The Oregon Boundary Treaty establishes the boundary between America and Canada, and they're like, okay, cool, we can live with each other and not hate each other. So that's pretty nice. This was in 1846, and from this point on, there weren't a lot of skirmishes between Canada and his crackhead brother. Now, look, there were a lot of things that happened with the native peoples living in Canada. Like I said in the intro, I don't want to brush any of this aside or make it out to be unimportant, but once again, I don't want to speak on behalf of those people. The suppression of indigenous culture is tragic and people should be made aware of it, but I'm not the right person to talk about it. I'm a 16-year-old white girl in America. With that being said, I'm going to move on to the 20th century. I'm going to leave a really helpful video I found in the description. That's a good starting place to start learning about it because, once again, I do believe that it is a subject that people need to be educated on. I hope you understand why I don't feel qualified to talk about it, so make sure to go watch that because it's a very important piece of history that is way too often overlooked. With that being said, I'm going to move on, but please remember to watch the video in the description after this video, or go watch it now and come back here when you're done. I don't care. I just implore you to learn about it. World War I whirled around and Canada was involved pretty much as soon as the UK was, since he was still a colony. A lot of people argue that the Canada Act in 1867 marked the date of Canadian independence, but that's kind of a misconception. Canada actually only gained full independence in 1982. But yeah, he's still a British colony at this point. So he was involved, and kind of near the end of the war, when America joined, the two of them started to kind of grow a little closer. The Halifax explosion actually helped solidify a constructive relationship between them, as a lot of the rescue effort was provided by America. So, yeah, that's the point in which they started really being friends. Of course, this bond would grow a lot more, especially during World War II. After Pearl Harbor, Canada actually declared war on Imperial Japan before America did. Canada was also involved in the Manhattan Project. We love supportive siblings here. Aside from that, Canada was generally pretty heavily involved in World War II. We love supportive children here. We love supportive families, especially when they're supporting each other and kicking the asses of loser Nazis. But, yeah, unfortunately, as we already know, world peace was not about to be a thing. The Cold War was looming on the horizon, and Canada was one of the founding members of NATO when it was created in 1949. That being said, Canada leaned more towards the pacifist side. He didn't support the war in Vietnam, and the entire time he was like, guys, what if we just, calm down? But that didn't happen for a while. But when it actually did, everyone was chilling. The Soviet Union started to give up on life. Good call there, buddy. And now we have Ukraine and Canada being friends, and that's great and beautiful and epic and great. Yeah, so that's about it, I think. Once again, I ask that you watch the video I linked in the description about the Indigenous peoples of Canada. It's a topic that deserves awareness, and I didn't want to talk about it in a dumb video about flags with feelings, because that would feel almost kind of disrespectful to kind of jam it in there in terms of Countryhumans lore. But please go watch the video and do your best to learn about what happened. If we don't learn about it, we're only perpetuating the problem. We all have the responsibility to give survivors a voice and educate ourselves on Indigenous history. Alright, I think I'm pretty much done with this video by now. I don't have much else to say, so I'll see you in the next dumb Countryhumans Headcanons video. Remember to believe in human rights or something. I don't have a funny closing line for this. Leave me alone.